y'all, and welcome to Melanated Maker DIY. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I built this mirror cabinet for my master bathroom just because I needed a little bit of extra storage. Here's what we're working with. I just had this blank wall between our toilet room and our master closet, and I just felt like something needed to go here, and I needed extra storage because I got a lot of hair products. I just have a lot of everything, so nothing wrong with a little bit of extra cabinet space. So I thought this mirror cabinet would be the perfect solution. Here I am just getting the wood for this, and this literally only took a handful of pieces of lumber. So all the plans and the cut list on my blog, melanatedmakerdiy.com. So check it out, all of the plans step by step in addition to this fun video. The fun thing about this project is that it only involves two different cut lengths. One for the length of your shelves and one for the height of your cabinet. So it's super easy to customize. Those are the only ones that you're gonna make. So one of the tricks that I love to make sure that I'm doing whenever I make cuts is to take into account the width of the blade. So the width of a blade normally is 1/8 of an inch. I'll make a line at 12 inches and then another line at 12 inches and 1/8. That way I can line up my blade right in the middle of it to make sure that I am getting the perfect cut every time. So when I start building something, I usually like to lay out all of the pieces before I put it together. That way I have an idea of like where everything is gonna go. I can also mark with a pencil where I want all of my pocket holes to go, so you'll see me doing that. And it just helps me kind of put everything together mentally of what I'm gonna do, because you can always make plans, but until you really start to see it all come together, it's just a pile of wood. Also with this, I marked holes where I wanted the pocket holes to go on the shelves, and then realized I didn't really need pocket holes in the shelves. They're not going to be holding anything super heavy, so I'm actually just going to end up using nails and wood glue. But if you do want to use something heavy, then pocket holes are the way to go. So this is Craig Jig's K4 pocket hole jig, and it is one of my favorite tools in my shop. It's so easy. You can just clamp it down to your work table and then slide the wood in, and you can get perfect pocket holes so quickly, so easily. There's a ton of different jigs that Craig makes, and so there's like a ton of price ranges. This is kind of right in the middle. It's about $100, and it's so easy to use, so effective. I love it. So before I start putting any shelves in, I'm going to mark my boards and just basically just making lines on my boards of where I want each shelf to go. That way as I start assembling them, I already have a guide. I don't have to like measure. And when I measure across two boards, it's guaranteed that it's all gonna line up. So here I'm going to start by putting screws into the pocket holes into the bottom of the board, and I'll do this for the top and the bottom. Then I'll take my nail gun and some wood glue, and like I mentioned earlier, just nail in all of those shelves. And so you're also going to want to attach some back support pieces. This is just one for stability for your cabinet, but also to hold it up against the wall. So we'll take some wood screws and actually just drill into the studs in the wall through these back support pieces. So that way you don't have to deal with any excess hardware or any gaps between your cabinet and the wall. We're just going to mount it right on the wall. And so this is what it looks like at the end of day one. All right, so that night of day one, I actually decided that I could go ahead and build the frame for the door. But as you can see, I got some boards that were super wonky, and I don't remember if I bought them wonky or if they just ended up wonky from sitting in my garage, and all of the temperatures, rain, heat kind of makes the wood contract and warp. So basically this board was just useless. As you can see, there's so much wobble room. So I ended up taking it apart so I could save the screws and redoing it the next morning. So here I've got my hinges, and I placed a piece of wood on the bottom, and then I actually drilled in one hinge to the cabinet. I marked where the screws will go. That way I can attach the screws since the back support piece is in the way. I'm gonna unhinge it from the cabinet and then drill it to the door and then reattach it to the cabinet. But so I'll go across and do each of those. Also, I found it a lot easier to just use the screws and kind of pre-drill holes into it. That way, I'm not having to hold the hinge and try to grip the wood with the screw. So it made it a lot easier. So once I got all of the hinges attached to the door, like I said, I just used some screws and then attached it to the cabinet, making sure that there was enough space for the hinge to properly close and kind of fit outside of the door. And that's mostly just based on what kind of hinges you buy. Y'all, I was so excited to get this door closed. I always get so nervous with hinges, so I was thrilled that it worked out. Alright, so here I'm just attaching the back of the board. That way you don't see the frame when you open the cabinet. You can use a sheet of plywood. I had this like flat board that I had left over from when I did an accent wall in our master bedroom. So I just grabbed that, cut it down to size, and then nailed it in. I ended up actually using chalk paint for this. I did not like it at the end, and if you follow me on Instagram, which you should be, then everybody on my Instagram also hated it, so I'm not committed to this. It's gonna change, but it's fine for now. So to attach the mirror, I'm just laying down a bunch of construction adhesive, and then I'm gonna take the mirror and just sit it right on top of that and press it down to make sure that it gets nice and stuck everywhere on that door frame. One thing that you are going to want to do is make sure that you remove the hanging hardware off the back of the mirror. I forgot because I'm ridiculous, but it's not a huge deal, but you are going to want to make sure you do it so that way you don't see it on the side of your door. So here I am just finding a stud in the wall. There was only one stud in this wall, which is fine since I'm going to screw it in from the top and the bottom, so it's not gonna rock side to side. So I sat the cabinet on top of some dog food and books for height, and then I drilled the back pieces into that stud in the wall with wood screws. I also added a magnet inside so that way I could just tap on the door and it would pop out at me, and that way I don't have to like pry it out or get fingerprints all over it every time. So it's perfect. I am so obsessed with how this whole thing came out. I have all this extra storage. All my hair products have somewhere to go, and so I am just thrilled. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned something. If you're interested in doing this project, check it out on my blog, melanatedmakerdiy.com, where all of the cut list and the materials are listed, as well as a step-by-step tutorial. But also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video if you're interested in me making more. This was really fun, so let me know and we'll keep doing them. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.